Okay, let's start with our continuing, I guess I should say, our 56th annual Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 post-race press conferences, and we're joined by our today's winning crew chief, six-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series championship crew chief Chad Knaus. And Chad, congratulations on this win. It's your guys' 71st win in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Gets you guys into the 2015 chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. And it's got to be a very good feeling knowing that the 48 team certainly flexed its muscles and one more time showed us today just its championship medal.
Yeah, thank you, Kerry. It was a great day. Obviously, it was really a lot of fun. It didn't start off the way that I wanted it to. Obviously, with missing qualifying and not being able to go out there and see the potential that the 48 car had at that point. But boy, it dropped the green flag. It was really actually a lot of fun watching, knowing that there was going to be a competition caution at lap 25, and watching Jimmie and Jeff and Kevin just rally through the field in those first 25 laps. I thought was just fantastic. So that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that. And then we were able to get up front and have some good runs today. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. Very proud of Jimmie and the efforts that he did. Really super proud of the new guys on the 48 team, and especially everybody in the 4888 shop, because you know we went down to Daytona, we qualified well, and won both 150s, and had a good shot at finishing 1-2 here today. So I think it bodes for good things to come in the 4888 group.
Questions now for Chad. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll start right there in the middle with Mike.
Excuse me, Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Chad, your first go-around with the brand new rules package, how was it from an adjustability standpoint and overall preparation for the car?
It wasn't a ton different than last year leading up to the event, but I think Atlanta's a bit of an anomaly with the tire wear and the way the strategy plays out. Most of the racetracks that we go to, you don't have that much of a tire fall off. But from our standpoint, it was a challenge. Thursday practice session, Friday qualifying time, and yesterday throughout practice, we didn't have the car that we needed. And fortunately enough, my engineers and myself, we really put our heads together last night, came up with some good ideas, and it worked out for us today.
Let's go right here with Matt, and then we'll go to Bob, and then to Brent. Matt, Bob, Brent.
Matt Weaver, PopularSpeed.com. Chad, a lot of tech issues all weekend, even leading up to the race today. With your team specifically on Friday, what were the issues, and do you expect that to continue into Vegas?
I hope it doesn't. How's that? It was tough. You know, NASCAR right now, they've got officials. They have a group of officials, and once the inspection process begins, they kind of separate. We have some in the Nationwide garage, some in the Cup garage, so they're maybe just a pinch understaffed and trying to get their rhythm figured out. We had a small issue with, I think our wheel offset was off a little bit, and we had to, maybe just our skew was off a little bit with the alignment of the rear end housing. It's something that we need to try to address. You know, when we rolled out of the garage for qualifying inspection, there was really only an hour left before qualifying was to begin, so the whole day was just kind of slow. I think once everybody gets familiar with what their jobs are, I think that'll start to get faster and go faster to where we won't have this much of a backlog. But it's difficult. It's difficult to do that, and NASCAR is trying to provide a level playing field for everybody, but it's definitely something that needs to be addressed.
Let's go over here far right to Bob, and then we'll go to Brent.
Bob Hocker, ESPN. There was some talk before the season started that this package would be better for Jimmie than last year's package, but I mean, you won Texas, you finished fourth here last year, so should we read much into today?
I hope so. You know, we did hit on some things last year that we thought were going to benefit us this year. Again, like I said, we didn't have the cleanest Thursday and Friday or Saturday. Things kind of came together pretty well for us today. But I do think this type of package will help Jimmie. I think it'll be better for him with the lack of grip. But when we go to some of these other racetracks, it's just going to be a different format. It's again, the tire fall off here is a bit different than what we'll have everywhere else. I think that we've got a good package, and I think that we're going to have some good things coming. I think that we did a lot of work over the winter that to make our cars better and understand them a little bit better, and I think it's going to definitely help. But I can't put it all on the aero package or the downforce adjustments. I think a lot of it has to do with the preparation that the guys did back in our home.
Let's go over here far right still, Brant.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. There was a lot made outside of your team last year that you guys didn't win your first race to like race 12, I think. Now, that said, you won 4, but the points finish was way down from what you're used to. Is there anything that we can sort of divine from this? You've won early. Anything that points that you guys are, headed back in the right direction where you want to be?
I just know that we're going to continue to work and try to do the best we possibly can. That's the kind of the vintage 48 methodology, is just if you win, you just put your head down and keep digging and try to get the next one, and that's kind of how we're going to approach the season. There's no layups. Just because we won today doesn't mean that we're going to go to Las Vegas and knock it out of the park. I think we've got the ability to, but I don't think that there's any givens by any stretch.
Let's go, Jim Utter. Raise your hand, Jim.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. You mentioned this a little bit earlier, and you also mentioned it on the radio right before the competition caution that you kind of praised Jimmie on his driving early in the race. As long as the two of you have already been working together, do you still find time surprising what each of you is able to do at times?
I definitely do. I mean, when he's on and he's switched on and the car's in his comfort zone, it's amazing what he can do with the race car. Watching him, it was so much fun, man, watching those guys that first 25 laps. I don't know what you guys were watching, but I mean, damn, that was awesome. We're talking 3 wide, up at the top, down to the bottom, going through the middle, and it was just fantastic. And I mean, I'm telling you guys, the racing that we've got in our industry right now is the best racing in the world, period. And to see Jimmie do what he did today was just phenomenal. I mean, he just did such a spectacular job. To come from all the way back there like the 4 did and run up front all night long, I think it just speaks volumes of the talent of those two guys.
Other questions? Let's go to Stan.
Stan Creekmore with Competition Plus, Chad. The final 13 laps, did you sit up there and sweat? Or were you confident that he could get everything done?
There was no sweating, I can tell you that. I was freezing today. Holy smokes. It's nice and warm and toasty in here, I noticed, but it was cold out there. I was nervous for sure. Dale had a super fast car, obviously. He was very aggressive on the restarts and was, he had his plan before the green flag ever flew of what Dale was going to do. And you could see that materializing before we even got to the start-finish line. So I had concerns, but man, getting down through 3 and 4, Jimmie just rocketed through 3 and 4. Once we got the lead, I felt like as long as it stayed green, we'd be able to maintain it. But man, you just never know, right? Shoot, Dale was running second to us handedly ahead of Harvick and hit a piece of bare bond on the front straightaway and knocked the front end off his car. I mean, that very easily could have been us. So fortunately enough, it wasn't. And that's something I hope in somehow, some way we can address as an industry to try to get it to where we don't have race cars on the racetrack with parts and pieces falling off of them in the middle of a race, especially in a situation like that. But, that'll be a later discussion, I'm sure.
Take one more question. Kenny Bruce. Always a good one to wind up with.
I don't know about that. If the racing was so good, maybe they should start a bunch of you guys in the back every week.
That's what they do on late models, right? They invert them.
Hey, can you talk about your all's day on pit road? Did you all have maybe not issues with your team, but I mean, whether getting in and out of the pits or anything like that?
Yeah, that was a direct result of us not being able to qualify. I think I picked, where we start, 38th or 39th, whatever it was. So believe it or not, there's only a handful of pit boxes left, right? So we had to kind of shoehorn in where we could. And with the 19 being so far ahead of us because they qualified well and ran well, we always had to come in behind them. And then the 34 car for the first half of the race was doing a really good job of maintaining on the lead lap. So we were shoehorned in the middle of 2 cars, and we couldn't get in. And then after we were done with our pit stop, we couldn't get out. So we lost, anywhere from 6 to 8 spots just about every pit stop for the first half of the race until we were finally able to get ahead of the 19. And once we got ahead of the 19, we could get into our pit box cleanly. And then subsequently at the same time, the 34 car went a lap down. So once that all happened, then the guys were really able to knock out some super pit stops. They did a great job. I think we beat the 4-car off of pit road one time. We came in second behind them and beat them and maintained a lot of the other times. So they just did a great job.
How frustrating is that when you're in that situation where you're...
Yeah, your hands are tied. There's really nothing you can do. And it is frustrating, but again, it's a direct result of what happens on Friday. That's why I've said time and time again, your race starts on Friday. How you qualify sets you up for the event. It sets you up for your pit selection. It sets you up mentally. It does the whole thing. Unfortunately, for us, whose ever fault it was, ours, theirs, culmination of both, we just didn't happen on Friday for us.
Chad, congratulations on this win, and we'll see you in Las Vegas. Thank you. Okay, we're going to hear from our race winner right now. That's Jimmie Johnson. He drives the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. He's our 6-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series champion. This is his 71st career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win, his 4th victory here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He punches his ticket into the 2015 chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Jimmie, congratulations. You put on a great show out there today for the fans, coming all the way from, I think, 38th starting position and winning this race. Congratulations. Just talk about how you were able to accomplish that.
And thank you. It was, just a surprising start to the race for me. We felt like we were okay in the test session and the practice sessions, through Friday and Saturday. We didn't think we had a dominant car or really a kind of a car to race for the win. Seemed that some other guys showed some speed, but through our process and through getting to know the new folks on our team and the engineers, they understood what I was asking for and found a way to give it to me. And I knew within about 2 sets of corners when the race started that we were going to have an awesome day. The car was just incredible, and I think where the race really opened up for us was once I was able to get in front of the 19 car. We'd get close to him, but then we had so many quick cautions at the start of the race. I could never get in front of him, and the way we were arranged on pit road, I'd have to come around the 19 and then get blocked in by the 34. So once I was able to get in front of the 19 and then the 34 went down a lap, our race completely changed, and I was able to count on my guys on pit road to get me out first or help make up spots on the racetrack, and things really changed at that point and went our way.
Questions now for Jimmie Johnson. We'll start right over here with Brant, far right. Jimmie.
Brant James, USA Today Sports. What's the value in winning this early in the season as compared to last year? I know last year you said there's no panic, but it was race 12. And can this be used as an indicator of success further in the season as compared to last year?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it gives you a sign who's going to be competitive. This track is a little unique with how much tire wear, tire fall off that we have, but this does a lot for us. We feel really good about coming here and having this kind of showing, and I think what we did here we can take to a lot of the racetracks ahead. So excited about it, and it takes pressure off in some ways. I mean, we don't have the questions of are you going to win this year? The stuff that kind of is out there through the fans and what goes on in here. So it's nice to dodge that, but we'll have to win again probably in 6 to 8 weeks, or else those questions will come around. So buys us a little bit of reprieve, but it's nice to know that we're locked into the chase. There's just a lot of good things that come with it. So we're pumped and excited, and I look forward to going racing next week.
Let's go with Stan, and then we'll go with Bob.
Stan Creekmore with CompetitionPlus.com. Jimmie, the final 13 laps, how did the restart feel, and were you confident every single lap this was checkered flag time?
I felt like if I got clean air, I was going to be in good shape, and when Junior was able to get to my outside, I just didn't know what was going to happen down the back stretch. And I felt like I could probably run flat out through 3 and 4, and I just tried it and made it. So it definitely took big commitment throttle wise to get that done. I felt like he might make that move. I saw him on an earlier restart kind of favor to that side, but I had a car to my outside that held him back, and with the 20 being on older tires, I kind of knew that was coming, and I thought I had it defended, but he still found a way to get to my outside.
Off to your right there, Jimmy. Bob?
Bob Pockris, ESPN. Talked a little bit before the season about how this new package might fit your style a little bit better. So I guess the question is, does it? Now, you were fourth here in last August, and you did win at a mile and a half in Texas late last season.
Yeah, it's hard to say for sure, but the Texas and Atlanta, a lot of those tracks with high wear, we seem to shine at, regardless of package. I think next weekend in Vegas will really be a telling sign which teams are kind of geared up for the meat of the season and what our season's based on. So this doesn't hurt by any means, but I'm feeling really good, but I'm not 100% there yet. We'll figure that out next weekend. Yeah, just the way the tires hang on. Here we have like maybe 3 or 4 second fall off in tire. And at Vegas, it'll probably be under a second. So just a different dynamic in how the car works.
Anybody else for Jimmy? We'll finish right here with Kenny, and then we'll go to Kenny, and then we'll go to Mike, and then we'll go to the gentleman right there in the back. We'll finish with him. 3 more right here. Kenny, Mike, and the gentleman in the back.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Jimmy, first of all, a couple things. Chad talked about how exciting it was watching you guys race from the back at the start of the race. How concerned were you that you had to get out from back there, and how hard did you push your car? Were you worried about abusing the tires or anything like that, trying to get to the front?
I felt like with the competition caution at 25 laps, I felt really confident that I could run hard and not worry. And I felt that way. And then prior to Chad putting the window net up, he said the same thing. He said, man, just go hard. Those leaders could be coming, and the way practice went, we weren't so sure we were going to be that good, and we felt like we needed to take advantage of things and get rolling and run hard.
And also, your teammate Jeff Gordon, in his accident, hit a portion of the wall that didn't have the safer barrier installed. Again.
That man will find a spot. We thankfully there's a lot of people paying attention to it, and we can get this addressed. And I'm under the impression that all the tracks are on board, and NASCAR is definitely on board. It's unfortunate that we're so many years removed from the inception of the safer barrier, but I think we're on the right track and going to have it everywhere it needs to be. We just need to send Jeff out on the track and find out where to put him. I mean, that guy will find the opening.
Let's go to Mike, and then we'll finish with the other gentleman. Go ahead, Mike.
Mike Neff from FrontStretch.com. Jimmy, coming to the track this morning, I was reminded of the 2006 Daytona 500 when it was very cold and damp and foggy all day. And I even mentioned it in a tweet this morning that it boded well for you coming into this race. How is it that a guy from California seems to do well when the weather conditions are so crappy?
I don't know if it has a ton to do with it. The moisture can maybe make it a little slick at times, and my dirt roots would be able to shine through. And I feel like this track does favor drivers with a dirt background, so maybe something in that area. But I didn't see enough precipitation that really, would account to anything on the windshield. Just got lucky, I guess.
Go ahead, right
Jimmy.
there.
Eric Bailey with the Tulsa World. Dan Rooney, the Folds of Honor founder, appeared to take time to explain the trophy, the symbolism of the trophy. Just your thoughts on that, and perhaps the job that the Folds of Honor did in their NASCAR sponsorship debut.
Yeah, what an amazing organization. He did explain the trophy, give me a bit of a backstory on things. I had the chance to meet him at Kevin Harvick's golf tournament a year or so ago. And then also up there were family members who had lost their loved ones, defending our country. And it was tough for me because I just gotten out of the car and was on cloud 9 from a win, and then I met a woman that lost her husband fighting for our freedom. And I just actually told her, I said, thank you, and I don't even know what to say. I'm not sure if thank you even is the right thing to say to you right now, ma'am, but it's just a weird juxtaposition from being on cloud 9 and winning the race, and then the reality of someone losing their husband defending our freedom. I'm happy that Atlanta, this relationship worked out, and we were able to say thank you to all the men and women serving, and then in some way say thank you to those that have lost a loved one serving our country.
Well put, Jimmy. Jim, you want to finish up? Jim Utter, final question.
Jim Utter, Charlotte Observer. When Chad was in here earlier, he mentioned, and we also heard on the radio before you got to the first competition caution. I think he said something to you about how impressed he was with your performance driving up through the field, and he made mention of it again in here. And I was just curious, and I'd asked him, after all these years that the two of you have spent working together, is it surprising that you still find times that you impress each other with what you do?
Yeah, today I think we both impressed one another, and it just showed that, maybe how rough last year's performance was. To fly through the field like that, to feel those sensations in the car, and the car create that much grip and be that friendly and being able to work traffic, from my standpoint was surprising. And then I'm sure from his standpoint, sitting on the box, watching me, pass 2 to 3 a lap was impressive as well. So. It is pretty wild after all these years we're able to do that and still impress one another, but we did it today.
Jimmie Johnson, congratulations on your win here today, and best of luck out in Las Vegas, but a super win, 71 victories.
Crazy.
And certainly it's good to see you back in winner's circle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.